topic today. So like I mentioned yesterday, we finished off with AMP scripting. So whatever scripts I have shown so far, 99% of the time you will be using those AMP scripts. It's quite possible that there could be a special scenario where some specialized AMP scripting will be required. Like just as an example, recently I was building an automation for some internal reporting and stuff like that. So I needed to create an AMP script which will, stamp a date, today's date, basically. It will stamp today's date in the data extension. So I wanted to see when the records were getting updated and things like that. So personally speaking, even I did not know how to do that, though I know it's possible. So I had to do a little research. But, I went to that AMP script guide and I checked it and I found the function. So that's what I meant, that in some cases, sometimes there will be a requirement where you might need to use different AMP script functions. As long as you know what is required to be done, you will definitely find it in the AMP script guide. All the functions are available over there. So today we are going to be looking at journeys. Now, initially we did data extensions. So that's your target list. We worked on emails. So that's your asset. Now, obviously, it comes to deployment. So I did show you how to deploy a single email. So basically, that's called a one-time send or a ad hoc send. So I showed you how to do that. But that's not the true power of Salesforce Marketing Cloud. The true power of Salesforce Marketing Cloud is the ability to deploy journeys and automations. So today we'll see how to do journey. In order to access Journey Builder, you need to go to Journey Builder, obviously. There are three options here. The last option is Journey Builder. Now, this functionality is available in most of the leading marketing automation platforms. The name might be different, but the functionality wise, it's quite similar. So some call it sequence, some call it flow, some even call it journey. So Salesforce Marketing Cloud, it's called Journey. Again, when you guys want to work in Journey Builder, you have to be very careful of two things. One is obviously work in your folders. So you can create your own folder, like I have created mine. You can just come to my journeys, and under that, there's an option which says create new. So I can make a folder here. And try and work in your folders. The second important thing is these are journeys. So you will be building them, and then there's a provision to switch them on. So when you switch them on or when you activate them, you have to be very careful the kind of journey you're building. If you're building a journey which is running regularly on a daily basis, weekly basis, hourly basis, by mistake, if you leave it on, maybe you'll switch it on for testing. But my recommendation is if you're switching it on, do your testing and then switch it off. If you forget and keep it on, then it's going to be continuously functioning in Salesforce Marketing Cloud and it'll keep running. This will reduce the tool's performance. Plus, it is going to keep sending emails out. So just be very careful when you're using Journey Builder. Feel free to switch them on. You can switch on your journeys, no worries about that. But just ensure that you switch them off once you have finished your testing. Now, how to build a journey. So I went to my folder. I created a new one. Now I'm in my folder. Here there's an option which says create new journey. Click on that. You have three options here: a multi-step, a single send, and a transactional. We'll be focusing on multi-step journey. A single send journey is the same thing what I showed you earlier, where you can you have one email, one data extension, connect them together and send it out. You can even do it from here. But our main focus area is on multi-step journeys. The left is where you'll have activities and entry sources. Right is your canvas. Uh, it's good practice to give your journey a name. Right now, it will by default give a name like this. It'll say new journey, date and time. So you can click on that and give a proper name. Now, your journey always starts with an entry source. In most cases, your entry source will be a sending data extension. That's why you see an option over here which says data extension. So this one is what you will use in most cases. There are other options as well, depending on what your client has subscribed for in the package of Salesforce Marketing Cloud. Now, for us, there are, if you see, there's API event, there's audience, there is cloud pages, event. This is a trigger. This symbol is of a trigger. So event trigger, Google Analytics 360 data, and then Salesforce data and things like that. We're not going to be looking at all of them. Let's look at the most common ones. So data extension. So just drag and drop it. Now your journey can only have one entry source. It can't have multiple entry sources. So if you've decided to use a data extension, and then suddenly you say, oh, I also want to use, suppose some other data, like from Google Analytics data. You can't use both together. You will have to manipulate both the data from data extension and the Google Analytics 360 data. You'll have to manipulate that, put it in another data extension, and then connect the data extension if you want to do it that way. How do you manipulate? When we do Automation Studio, I will show you how we can do manipulations. But as of now, let's just understand that I'm trying to use a sending data extension. So I've connected that here. Now the rest of the steps will be activities. There are a lot of activities. If you notice, so many activities, and paired with activities is also something called flow control. So you see so many activities here. Again, the number of activities will be defined by the number of things your client has subscribed for. Our current instance of Marketing Cloud has multiple things. That's why you see so many activities. Activities normally will be your assets, like channels or assets. So email is there, push messages, SMS, WhatsApp, line message, in-app message. Obviously, these are all from Mobile Studio. In-app and all is Mobile Studio. SMS is Mobile Studio. WhatsApp also is part of Mobile Studio. So that's why I have an option to use any of these. You have Ad Studio. Remember the Ad Studio module is also there. So you can even do ad operations related journeys. And then you have a lot of options on flow control. And then you have something called customer updates. So I'll be explaining all of these slowly. Let's start with activities. So let's say I want to send an email. So I drag and drop the email, put it here. Now, let's say it's just a simple one. Data extension, email, and then my journey ends. This is like a simple one-off. I have just put the blocks here, but I still need to configure each of these blocks. So how do you configure them? You just click on them. Now here's your data extension. So I need to obviously select a data extension, a sending data extension. So click on that. Locate your relevant data extension. So let me locate something which I've used. Now all the data extensions will be which will be displayed will be only sending data extensions. Non-sending data extensions will not be displayed. I've selected that. So that's my data extension, which I have selected. You need to set up a schedule. Click on that. Now you have three options. Run once, as it says, the journey will run once and it will stop on its own. Recurring, It will run multiple amount of times depending on how you have set up the recurrence. Automation is grayed out right now. This is more towards the fact, if you see this automation option is available when the entry data extension is being managed by one or more automations. So when we do Automation Studio, we'll try and look into this option. But right now, it's just these two, run once or recurring. So depending on the use case, if it is an ad hoc journey, newsletter, monthly statement, uh, or Diwali is coming, you want to run a special campaign for Diwali, talking about some Diwali promotions and things like that. Now, these are just one-time offers, one-time campaigns. So they will normally be run once. Recurring. If you select recurring, you have some options. You'll have to schedule it. So you guys use Outlook. In Outlook, some of you, or maybe most of you, must be setting up calendar invites and things like that. So it's quite similar to that. So if you say set schedule, you can say when it needs to start. So let's say I wanted to start on 25th. What time you wanted to start? Let's say I want to start at 9 a.m. in the morning. Obviously the time zone. So like 9 a.m. India time, I wanted to start. If I find India somewhere. Okay, I'm just going to randomly put for now. And this is your repeat schedule. You want to run it hourly, you want to run it daily, weekdays, weekly, monthly, or yearly. So depending on the use case, obviously your client will tell you, or your marketing team will tell you how that journey is supposed to run. You'll need to select the relevant option. Let's say I'm running this every week. So if I say weekdays, that means it will run Monday to Friday. Weekly, if I say, that means, so it will run every week. And every week, I can even select when it should run. So I can say, this is starting on a Monday, next week, Monday. But I can say every Monday I want it to run. So I'll just select this. So that means it's going to run every Monday. And I can even say when I want it to end. The marketer will say, okay, I wanted to run for 5 times and then it should end. Then you can select the relevant. Or the marketer will say, I don't want it to end at all. So you can set it to never. So it will keep running until you manually switch it off. So it all depends on what the marketer wants to do. So these settings is something which you will need to look at.
Here one question.
Yeah.
We can select Monday and some other day along with it if
Yes,
I want
sure.
to run twice.
You can. You can do that. Right. So this basically means when I select these two, this basically means that it will evaluate this data extension on these 2 days every week. Right. I'll talk about contact evaluation. So I said evaluate, right? So I'll talk about contact evaluation. But basically, whatever you select here, it's going to look back at the data extension on those days, whatever you're selecting. Now comes evaluation. Why is evaluation important? Now remember, this is a data extension. This data extension, there will be people in this data extension who will need to be targeted. Now, you need to tell the journey how this data extension is going to function, because you can have multiple types of data extension. You can have a data extension where new records are being added, right? So for example, it's a data extension which is storing everybody who's registering to paypal.com. So that means anybody who registers and becomes a member of paypal.com, their entry gets added into this data extension. So that basically means that this data extension will have only new people who are coming on a daily basis, weekly basis. Or this data extension could be another type of data extension where the current records are there, but these records are getting updated. So suppose there are 100 records in the data extension, it's quite possible that a few attributes are getting updated on a daily basis. So if that data extension is behaving like that, then you need to explain to this journey builder, what do you want to do with that data extension? So that's why if you say contact evaluation, there are two options: evaluate new records only, evaluate all records. Now, depending on the use case, you need to select the correct option. If your use case is the first example I gave, where new people are getting added to the data extension, like a registration data extension, then I will set this option, because I know anything which is going to happen in the data extension, it's only new records which are being added. So today I have 100 records. Let's say tomorrow I have 150 records. So today I started the journey, the emails went out to these 100 guys. Tomorrow 50 more records have been added. So I will only select those additional 50 people and send the emails to those 50 people. Day after tomorrow, another 50 people got added. Then on the third day, I'll again select those additional 50 people, send the email to those 50 people. So that is what I mean by evaluate new records only. However, if your data extension current records are getting updated, new records also being added, current records are getting updated, and in your journey, I will show you those examples, but in your journey, there are certain things which are looking at your old records. So when I say certain things, it could be your flags, certain flags which are looking at your old records. Uh, then I will need to look at evaluate all records. Because when if I select this option, then if the old records are getting updated, it's going to skip those records because it's only looking out for new records. If I select the second option, then it's going to look at all the records of the data extension. If old records are getting modified, then if I have specific conditions in the journey, it will work because I've selected the second option of checking all the records of the data extension. Now for this example, it's a very simple example of sending just an email. So I will use evaluate new records. Why? Because when I start the journey, everybody will get the email, and then whoever new is coming, I want them to get the email. So I'm not much worried about the old records being updated or things like that. So that's why for this use case, this evaluate new records is a fine option for me. There are two options here: evaluate all records, only new records added after journey activation. Now, if I select the first one, it's going to basically send out the email to everybody who are current. Right now, there are 5 records. It will send the email to all 5. If I select the second option, then what's going to happen is when I activate the journey, it will only look at new records which are being added to this data extension after it's got activated. So these 5 will not get the email, but when I get a 6th record, 7th record, then those guys will get the email. So it again depends on your use case, right? If there's a use case where you don't want to target existing people of the data extension, you could select the second option. If there's a use case where this data extension is considered as the starting point, you need to target everybody who's there in the data extension and then the new people who join, then you will select the first option. You will ask me this question: why would I want to target only the new people of the data extension? Now there are 5 people here. Why wouldn't they want to receive emails? Maybe, that's a good question to ask. So let's assume that this data extension was used in another journey. The emails have gone out, right? Emails have already gone out. And now you want to use the same data extension for a new journey, but this new journey has new emails, new design, but your requirement from the marketer is that, see, if the old people have already received the emails, then skip them. I don't want to target them. Let's only target the new people, but I still want everybody who was targeted in the past, I still want a record of them. So don't create a new data extension. So if a use case is there something like this, then I'll just simply use the old data extension, which was sending emails to the old people. I'll use the same one. I will put it here in this new journey with this new email, new branches if there are, and I'll select the second option. So what's going to happen is people who have already received the email, they are not going to get anything new. Only the new people will start getting the email. So like I said, it all depends on the use case. You'll have to select the correct option. It's important for you to know what options are available. Right now I'm going to select all. So I've selected the data extension. I've selected the schedule. I've attached an email. Obviously, I need to tell the journey which email to send out. So you select the relevant email which you have created in the past. So I'll just select the email which maybe I'll do this one, for example. Selected the email. If I want to change this, remember we have seen these options before. This is right now on commercial. If I want to change it, I can change it over here. I can select the sender profile, delivery profile based on what your client has given you. There are delivery options. Now, remember, it's going to target everybody from this data extension. But if you want to add some suppression lists and things like that, you can add them over here. Remember, I spoke to you guys the concept of throttling, where you can, basically limit the number of emails going on out every hour, every day. Those options are available over here. You can set these up if you want. This is more on CC and BCC, things like that. You can definitely add these if needed. So in this way, I've attached the email as well. It is always advisable to have a delay. So this is a delay. This comes under flow control. There's a delay of 1 day before the journey ends. It is advisable to have this delay simply because I will be doing reporting after the journey, obviously. This delay will help us collect more information. Some people may not have opened, like I got an email today, for example. I may not open today, I'll open tomorrow. So in order to capture all those, it's best that I keep a delay. It's always advisable to have a delay. You can configure this delay to your liking. Right now, by default, it is 1 day, but you can definitely change it as per your requirements. Again, requirements is provided to you by the marketing team. By default, it's 1 day, or the marketer might say, let's wait for a week and then collate all the information and things like that. So then you might want to change this. Now, in this way, I've set up a very simple journey. There is one more setting which needs to be done before you can activate it. The setting is over here in journey settings. Now, there's something called contact entry. Now, remember, this is a journey. Journey is normally used for lifecycle campaigns, right? What is an example of a lifecycle campaign? A typical lifecycle campaign is activation. Actually, no, it's welcome, activation. There could be reactivation, there could be churn. So these are different stages of a customer lifecycle. If it's a e-commerce site or an e-commerce client, then the main goal which the marketer will have is to ensure that the person who is registering purchases something. So like, let's take Amazon for example, people register to Amazon. And if I'm an Amazon marketer, my main goal will be that whoever is registering to Amazon does at least one purchase a week, or maybe one purchase every 2 weeks, depending on how the goal is being set up. Now, in order to encourage this person to do so many purchases every week, every month, I will run certain life cycle campaigns which will motivate this person to do the purchase. So some of the stages will be educational stages, trying to educate the customer of what Amazon can help you with. Some stages will be educating the customer of how to attach his credit card to the account. Some stages will be, again, educational stages talking about the deals which are there on Amazon. Some could be incentive stages where you're giving a coupon to the customer, telling him, okay, I'm giving you a 100 rupee coupon.
Diksha,
If you use this code,
Diksha.
you'll get a 100 rupee discount. So these are different stages which ideally get programmed in your journey. Now,
Mindface.
this is contact entry.
Sharing it in Meta.
Guys, can you be on mute if you're not?
40 रुपये होतात माइंडफेसच्या
स्टेशनवर 40 रुपये होतं मॅडम. 40 रुपये बाकी मॅडम सीधे नागपूर घुमा के
कहाँ पे मुझे माइंडस्पेस
हाँ माइंडफेस करूंगा मैडम. 40 पैसे देने का. मैं नागपुर घुमा के करूंगा आपको. माइंडफेस
Moment. Okay, so that's where the concept of contact re-entry or contact entry comes. Now, when this journey exits, right, when a customer exits the journey, there's a possibility that that person might come back into the data extension. There's a right. So in order to mitigate that possibility, there are different options here. So there's something called no re-entry. So no re-entry basically means that if a person exits the journey, in case he comes back into the same data extension, I will not be sending him any emails again. Other people who come, I might send emails to them, but if a person has already gone through this journey once, and I've set it up as no re-entry, that means this person will not get emails again from the same journey. He might get emails from another journey, but not from this one. Re-entry anytime basically means this person is in the different stages of the journey. Now, right now, the example I've given you is just a single one-line journey. But when we make complex journeys, there are multiple stages, multiple, you can say, arms of the journey. I'll show you those shortly. So in case the customer is there in any of those arms of the journey and he's not exited, but if his, if his entries have been updated in the data extension, he may start receiving previous emails again while he's still in the journey. So imagine this, a customer is, there are suppose 8 stages of a journey. Customer is in the 6th stage, and due to some changes in the same data extension, he gets picked up again and he starts receiving emails of stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. So if I have this setting on, then it's possible that the customer, though he could be in the 6th stage, he may start getting emails of the previous stage as well. It all depends on the use case the marketer will give. And re-entry only after exiting, that basically means what I just mentioned will not happen unless the customer finishes the 6th stage, 7th stage, 8th stage, exits the journey. And then if he comes back into the data extension, then he can start with stage 1 again. So all these options out of one of the 3 have to be set up before you can activate the journey, because the journey needs to understand customer behavior. How do you want to manage the customer behavior? Again, this option, what to select, will be provided to you by the marketing team, because they will know how the customer is going to behave. That done, this is how I have set up the journey. A very simple journey. Selected the data extension, selected a recurring schedule. I attach the email, I have a delay, and then the journey ends. So this is the simplest example of a journey. Now, if you remember when we did data extensions, we did filter data extension. And I told you how to filter out a data extension. So suppose you have a master data extension of a lot of records, let's say of multiple countries, but the marketer only wants to send for one country. So you create a filter data extension only for that one country. So you have lesser amount of records which you can use to send out emails. Now, if you use Journey Builder, you really don't need to create a filtered data extension. You can achieve the same thing by doing filtering within the journey itself. How do I do that? If you see down here under flow control, right, there are splits. There's something called a decision split. This is what I would want to use. So I take that, I put it here. So when I do a decision split, right, it creates two paths. One is path 1, which will be the positive of the decision. So I need to set up decisional condition. So if it is true, those set of people who are satisfying the decision or the filter will go through path 1, and the remainder will go through the remainder path. So if I click on this, it will allow me to actually set up those filters. I can give a name, right? So I can give a positive name. Now I'll have to select the filters. So I go to journey data. This is my journey. This is the data extension which I'm using, right? So let's say I want to do X employee is true. Obviously, like earlier, I can add multiple filters and with the and or condition. So that is very much possible. Now, what's going to happen here is if the person, because of the decision split, if it's a ex-employee, that person will pass through this path, the top path. If he's not an ex-employee, he's going to go through the remainder path. So that is how you can do a filtration within the journey itself. You don't need to do it outside in a data extension and then put that data extension here. You don't need to do that. You can do it within the journey itself. At real time, it will take the decision. You can increase the branches as well. So if you want, now there are 2 branches. I can create a 3rd branch. Whatever. And I can have another condition. I'm just randomly putting a condition now, but basically you can have another condition. So then you'll get 3 branches. In that way, you can have multiple branches with the decision split doing the filtration at runtime itself. So you can work with your master data extension, and then that will come here. Decision split will break up according to the conditions which you have set. So this is an example of a flow control called decision split. Maybe, yeah, I had a question.
Yes. Like in this decision split, in first path, the email will go if it is the condition is true.
Correct.
And the other 2, suppose this XX, if I want to send another email to this XX people, then can I add an email
Sure.
to that?
There you go. So you can select a different email which can be added over here, or else if you're doing multi-channel, you can even maybe select a WhatsApp message. So in this way, people who are ex-employees will get an email. People who are not ex-employees will get a WhatsApp message. Obviously, the WhatsApp message will need to be configured, but in this way, you're doing a multi-channel journey, email and WhatsApp. So you can do it that way as well. And maybe for my 3rd path, I can do an SMS.
So for that also, I need to set the timing and.
No, see, timing and all is set only once over here. Okay. Now, if you're saying I want to do some timing set, I don't think of a use case where you would like to delay this. Right now, this will start on 25th at 9 o'clock. And after that, every week, Monday, Tuesday, it will be running. Monday, Tuesday, it will keep checking the data extension, and it'll keep, when new records come, it'll keep doing the splits and sending it across. So everybody will get at the same time. You could try and add additional delay. I don't think why you would want to do it, but in case you want to, you could try. There is a wait over here. See this? Wait by duration is there. You could put it here. If you want to delay the WhatsApp, I'm not thinking of any specific use cases why you would want to do it, but in case, let's say you're saying my journey is running Monday, Tuesday. When I say running, it is evaluating the data extension. So you're saying Monday, Tuesday is going to evaluate, but I want all the WhatsApps whenever it comes to this branch for, let's say, people who are not ex-employees, I want all the WhatsApps to go only on Wednesdays. I don't want them to go on Monday, Tuesday due to whatever reason. Then what you could do is you can come here and you can wait. Again, this can happen Monday or Tuesday, right? So you can, if you wait for one day, if it has happened on Monday, then the WhatsApp will go on Tuesday. If it's happened on Tuesday, then the WhatsApp will go on Wednesday. So you can play around with that. Or another option, what you can do is wait by duration, wait until date is there where you can give a specific date, but this may not work for us. Maybe this can work. You can put a certain date. I don't know how it will work. On a certain date, it will send out the WhatsApp message if there is a particular use case. But normally everything goes out together only. Max, you can delay it.
Okay. And in another use case, if I want to target people who have opened this email.
Yeah, I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I'm removing this decision split for now. I'll do the targeting in a bit. Let me explain random split. Now, when we were doing data extensions, we did filtered data extension and we did a random data extension. Random split works like a random data extension. Again, it will do it at runtime. And it works in the same way. Right now it's 50-50%. If you notice, 50% will get the top path. The bottom path will go to the remaining 50%. This can be modified as well. If you want the top part to get 75%, then you can even do that. And again, the fundamental is the same. You can have random. Maybe you want to see which channel is better. Is email better or is WhatsApp better? This, so you if you want to take that, so you might do something like this. Right? So 75% got an email, 25% got WhatsApp, and then you'll see the performance of this campaign. So you can do a random split. You don't want to selectively target certain people, but just randomly you want to break up and send email to random people and WhatsApp to the other random set of people. Then you can do something like a random split. So that's another option. Again, you don't need to create a random data extension and then attach that here. You can just do it at runtime over here itself, a random split. Now, what you were referring to is called an engagement split. What do you mean by an engagement split? So let's say I have an email, and I'll have to select the email. So let's say it is this one. Oops. right? And now the requirement is the marketer says that we're going to send an email first. We'll wait for a day. After waiting for a day, we will see if people, for those people who are opening the email, I want to, let's say, for people who are opening the email, I want to send another email. For people who are not, who are clicking some links on the email, I want to send them a WhatsApp. Because that WhatsApp will, connect them to the salesperson and stuff like that. And people who are not opening the email, I want to send them another different email. Maybe that's a requirement. So you use something called an engagement split. So if you see here, this is an engagement split. In the engagement split, I'll have to define what I'm looking for. So I have to select the message. So it's this message. And I need to define open, click, or bounces. What am I interested in? Now I mentioned, I said if he's opened. So if I select open, so open, yes, I said he should get another email. If he's not opened, right? If he's not opened, then I want to check. I want to send him, say, a WhatsApp. Sorry, another email, enticing him, maybe give him a coupon or something like that. So put that here. Now this is open. I made a slight mistake here. Can I add one more engagement split? Yeah. Now he's opening it here. But now I also said something about clicking, if you remember. So if he clicks, I want to do a WhatsApp. So here I will choose click. When I choose click, I can specify which URLs of the email I'm interested in knowing if he's clicked. Or if I'm not bothered, I can say all. It all depends. It all depends on which URL you're interested in or whether all real. Any questions?
Yeah, mate, I'm not able to see your screen. Can you please reshare it?
Yeah, sure. 1 second. Can you see my screen now?
It is showing black.
Can everybody else see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I will rejoin it.
Okay. So look at this logic, right? So when I'm saying I'm checking here to see if the person has opened the email. If he's not opened the email, I'm sending an email. This email will have some coupon or something like that. If he's opened the email, then I'm coming here. Here I'm checking if he's clicked something. Like I mentioned, if he's clicked something, I want to send him a WhatsApp, maybe which will connect him directly to the sales guy. If he's not clicked, that means he's only opened and not done anything. Then maybe I'll send him some other email. So this is how an engagement split works. Any questions on engagement split? Now there is something called join also. Join is a flow control which allows you to, it's somewhere here, join. Join is a flow control which allows you to join paths. Now let's assume that this email and this email are same. Okay. Let's say it's one and the same. So what I'll do is instead of, I mean, it'll still work. I'm not saying it's not going to work, but I can, do it a little smart. I can be a little smart here. I can try and create a join. So it's not allowing me to create a join.
No. How long?
Because
So
one
this
is
join,
no and one is yes. That's why maybe.
no. It will not allow me to join on this, but I think I can join it like this. It's not, yeah. Can I do this? Okay. So if you look at what I've done here, since the email going to people who are not opening and to people who are not clicking is the same, what I've done is instead of having two separate paths, I've just created this join, right? So in this way, what happens is he comes here, he checks here, has the person opened the email? No. You go here, come up here, send this email with a coupon or whatever. Has the person opened the email? Comes here, checks here, has the person clicked on the email? Has he clicked on the email? Yes. Send a WhatsApp message. Has the person not clicked but only opened? It will come here, send the same email, which people who did not open will get an email with a coupon or something like that. So that's how you can use a join. It allows you to join paths. Okay. Now, if you see down here, there are some other things like customer updates, sales and cloud, sales and service cloud. Now, these are when the CRM, right? CRM is SFDC, Salesforce Marketing Cloud. When SFDC is connected to this marketing cloud, so the administrator will actually do that connection, but when it's connected, then you can use these functions. So what do you mean by these functions? So now this example, right? Send a WhatsApp message so that the person can connect directly to sales. Maybe I want to update the person's record in the CRM. So I can use these. I can create a case, right? I can take this, I can put it here. I can create uh, a case in SFDC. Normally, a case means some sales guy will have to work on it. So I can do these things only if the CRM is connected to the instance of Marketing Cloud, or I can create a task for the sales guy, and then I can configure this task. This may not work because it's not connected right now, but basically, yeah. So it's not yet connected, so that's why it won't work. But basically, what I can do is immediately after the person clicks on a link, he'll get connected with WhatsApp or whatever. But a task in the SFDC also will be created for the sales guy, so that he knows, oh, okay, this guy has shown some kind of interest by clicking on a link. Let me talk to him. So you can have this based on the integration with the CRM as well. You can have these examples, these activities can be added. So this is how you can play around with Journey Builder. Another important thing of Journey Builder is something called Path Optimizer. So let me show you that. So this is Path Optimizer. If you see over here, Path Optimizer, if I bring it here, if I put it here, add one or more activities, right? So let's say I put an email here and I put WhatsApp here. If you look at it very closely, Path Optimizer is like A/B testing. So I showed you A/B testing that day, but I showed you A/B testing using an email. In that, I was checking subject line, which is a winning subject line or stuff like that. You can do A/B testing in a journey as well. But what I'm doing over here is I'm trying to see which is a better path. You can have an email here, a different channel like WhatsApp here, or you can have two emails here, one with one subject, the second email with another subject, or two emails with the same subject but different content. So what this does is same concept of A/B testing. It will basically try to figure out which is a better path. And when I say better path, so basically means which is a better email or a better asset for this kind of a marketing campaign. It does this automatically. That's the functionality of Path Optimizer. STO is there, which is a new functionality. It stands for Send Time Optimizer. To be honest with you, I have never used it myself, nor do I have seen any clients asking for it because it's quite new. But basically what it does is, if you read this carefully, right? Select a time frame. Einstein STO optimizes send time for each contact within the time frame. So let's say 24 hours. So this is a send time optimizer, and this is powered by Einstein. Einstein is the artificial intelligence unit of Salesforce Marketing Cloud. When I do this, what happens is, and this will only work when you have a lot of data, right? If there's been a lot of sends, you can't do it from day one. So let's say I've used Salesforce Marketing Cloud. Now PayPal is getting a new instance of Salesforce Marketing Cloud, for example. Let's say PayPal has used this for 6 months, 8 months. Now, after that, if I start using STO, what's going to happen is Einstein will try and figure out, like me, for me as a customer, I like to open my emails at 5 o'clock in the evening. There could be another customer, Daryl, who likes to open his emails at 9 o'clock in the morning. So STO, what it does is, if I put this box here, it will route emails to those relevant people at that time, right? So if I don't have this box and it's normal without this box, then I'd set up a time at 9 o'clock, right? At 9 o'clock it'll start and it will send everybody the email at 9 o'clock. And then Tuesday again it will evaluate and then send again at 9 o'clock. Then next week Monday again it will evaluate, send at 9 o'clock in the morning. Obviously, if the list is bigger, if now there's only 5 people, but if the list is say 1 million, 2 million, 10 million, then maybe the people in the middle of the list will not get at 9 o'clock. They might get it at 9:20, 9:30. But basically the send out will start at 9 o'clock. But if I add STO, what's going to happen is the send out will start, but it will get delayed for people who's, where the artificial intelligence has figured out when does this guy like to actually open and read his emails. So the send out for me, for example, though it started at 9, I will only get the mail at 5 in the evening. For my colleague Daryl, he likes it at 9, so he will immediately get the email at 9. So in that way, what happens is, the idea is to place the marketing email right on top in the inbox. So it is trying to ensure that Mihir gets it at 5, it will be right on top of my inbox. Daryl gets it at 9, it will be right on top in his inbox, so that the chances of him viewing that email are there. If your email comes and then other emails come above it and the marketing email goes down, then you might just miss it. So that's the idea of using Send Time Optimizer, STO. But again, like I mentioned, it will only work when once Marketing Cloud has a lot of information, a lot of data, depending on how many people you're targeting on a daily basis, or how many campaigns you're running on a daily basis. Normally takes at least 6 months worth of data, good data, for it to start predicting send times and stuff like that. So that's about STO.
So Mihir, can't we do this like instead of STO? Is there any option for time zone if we want to? Maybe US and India, there are two different type of customers from 2 different countries. So there is a time gap of 12 hours. So I want to send 9 a.m. email to both the countries. So how
you can
like that time?
You can see. Let's assume it's this email, right? One email going to both the countries. You might have personalized it and stuff like that, but one email going to both countries. So over here, you set the time zone for, let's say, India, right? Then what you'll have to do is you'll have to create a decision split here. So create a decision split here. Let's say this one is, let's say this one is for India and this one is for US. I'll have to set it up. Okay. Now I don't have country here, but assume this is country. No, not this. Assume this is country. I'll say country code or whatever is equal to IN for India. Let's assume we've done that. Right. So that means this path is for people from India. This path is people from US. Right. Let's assume they're only Indian US data. Okay, just as an example. So if I put a filter on country equal to India is the first path, and the remainder is obviously the leftover will be US. So in this way, I have India and US. So India, it will come at 9 a.m. in the morning. And for US, what you can do is you can put a delay here, right? So you'll have to calculate, right? If it is a 12-hour difference, for example, so you just put 12 hours here, put 12, put hours. So that's it. So what's going to happen is when the email starts, it will pick up the records, it will do the decision split. All those people from India will get at 9 a.m. because it is scheduled at 9 a.m. They'll start getting it at 9 a.m. People from US will come here and wait here for 12 hours. Let's say it's now 9 a.m. in US time after 12 hours. Then they will start getting, okay, I forgot to put the email, but they'll start getting the email. Same email. You'll have to put the same email here. They'll start getting the email at their morning 9 o'clock. Does this answer your question?
Yes. Okay.
So they've given a lot of functionality here. So most of them can be solved by using these different flow control mechanisms. You can manipulate them and stuff like that and use them. You can definitely do that.
Mihir, I can see there is this wait by duration. So that can also be used maybe.
You can check it out. Let's delete this. Wait by duration is the same thing. And it's the same thing which I've been using. It's the same box.
He's going pink, 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 pink.
Yeah, so that is wait. I'm using wait by duration only. Okay, now I want to give you a use case on, remember I told you, you have data in the data extension, data can change at any time, right? So I want to show you that use case. I'm going to use my other instance because I've already created that journey, so I'm not going to make a new one. I'd actually built this journey as a demo for PayPal. So I would like to give that, I would like to show this journey as a use case. Okay. So, so PayPal has this very famous campaign called F90D. All those who have worked with PayPal may know about it. If not, it's okay. So I'd created like a demonstration version here, if I find it. Uh, yeah. So this is the F90D, right? It contains a welcome email. It contains an activation email. It contains an email to remind people to attach their credit cards to the account. And it also contains an email to tell people to do their first transaction. So this is F90. This is the journey which I built. If you look at the data extension, it's called PPF90D. So this is a sample data extension. Now, if you see how the data extension is, customer name, first name, last name, email address, then we have flags, activated flag, credit card flag, transaction flag, and then there is some text. Right. So this is some sample data. The idea is that this data extension will keep getting updated, right? And how is it going to get updated? So tomorrow, sorry, on Monday when we do Automation Studio, I'll talk about that. So it'll basically keep getting updated based on what the customer is doing. For example, if you look at the first customer, which is me, I have created an account, but I have not activated it. I have not added a credit card to it, nor have I done any transaction. That's why all these flags are false. Look at the second account. This person has activated it. That's why it's true. And then that's false. Right now, let's say I created this account on the 1st of January. Let's say by the 10th of January, I get it activated. So what's going to happen is the same data extension, this record will get updated from false, false, false to true, false, false. Let's say I activate and also attach my credit card. Then on 15 January, it will be true, true, false. So basically what's happening is this same data extension, the records are going to get updated based on what the customer is doing. And of course, if a new customer comes, it will get added below with the correct flag. So that's why if you look at this now, it's the same data extension which I just showed you. But if you look at the schedule, what I've done is evaluate new records is false. So basically, there are two settings, right? I told you, see the settings. There's evaluate new records and evaluate all records. Now, in the example I've shown you earlier, based on the use case, I told you that in this one, this new data is going to come, nothing else is going to happen. That's why I selected evaluate new records. But for this use case, I'm keeping it to evaluate all records. Why? Because my earlier records, the flags might change based on the customer behavior. And if the flags are changing, I have certain things in my journey which also need to change. So let's look at the journey. So it starts with a welcome email which goes to everybody. It waits for a day, or you can change this to an hour or a month, whatever, but it waits for some time. Now I have an activation check. If you see what I'm doing here, I'm checking to see if the activation flag is true. If the activation flag is true, if it is true, then it takes the top path. If it is false, means the person has not activated, then the person will get an activation email. So this email basically talks about reminding the person to activate the account, how to activate the account. I have a join stage here, comes up here and comes back to this path. So this is my main path on top, and I have parallel paths below. Whenever it is failing, so activation was not done, he'll get an activation reminder email. Joins the path again, goes ahead. Then there's a credit card check. If the person has attached the credit card, if the credit card flag is true, it continues going straight. If the credit card flag is false, that means the credit card was not attached. It will come down here and send a reminder email telling the person to attach the credit card. Again, it joins the main path, and then it is checking for transactions. If the first transaction flag is true, it will end. If the transaction is not yet done, if it is false, it will send a reminder to do the first transaction and then end. Now, by not evaluating only the new record, what's going to happen is when it comes here, it's going to check the data extension once again. So by the time it has come here, if the flag is true, it's going to then go ahead. Same thing when it comes to this decision box, it's going to check the data extension again. Right? If I keep this as true, evaluate new records only, it's not going to keep checking for the older records in the data extension. It will, if it picked up my record, with this flag, false, 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 it's going to continue with that itself throughout. And it's not going to verify if at a later stage, before this stage has arrived, one of my flags, has it become true or is it still false? That's the advantage of this feature. So at every decision box, it's going to actually check for the record in the data extension, and it's going to evaluate the flags and then proceed whichever path it's supposed to take. Any questions on this one? I think I can simulate this as well. Let me see. So when I do a test, right, there are two types of testing the journeys. One is do not send messages. When I say do not send messages, I can test it by looking at it on the screen itself. And the second is actually send messages. So basically it will send test messages. It will ignore the wait stages, because sometimes the wait stage might be wait for a week, wait for a month. So it's going to ignore all the wait stages and send out the relevant test messages.
Also, it will ignore the conditions. It will send all the emails.
It will not ignore the conditions. It will look at the current stage of your test data extensions, and it will send out based on that. So let me show you how that looks like. See, there's an option which says choose contacts. Right? So when I say choose contacts, it will show me the people in the data extension. Right? So I can simulate the test, right? I can say, okay, I want to check for this person, this person, this person, and maybe this person. Right? I can say that. So what will happen is it will send out test messages. It will obviously not go to these people on. It will definitely not send the live emails, but all these conditions, right? So this condition is false, false, false. This condition is true, false, false, true, true, false, true, true, true. All these conditions it will validate and send it to the email address I would have provided. So you'll be able to see what kind of emails are coming to each of these people. For example, this person will get 4 emails: welcome email, activation email, credit card email, transaction email. This person will get 3 emails: welcome email, credit card email, and transaction email. So in that way, we'll be able to see how the journey is actually functioning. So I'm not going to send emails. I'm just doing do not send. And if I start the test, you will actually see on the screen the paths, which is good enough for you to figure out if your logic is actually working or no. It takes a little time sometimes. And obviously it goes without saying, if you're testing anything which requires personalization and stuff like that, everything has to be accurate. Your ARM scripting has to be accurate. So if you see this is going to me here. Everything was false. So if you see the blue line, right, it starts from here. I get this email, comes here, it goes down here. I get the activation email, comes here, like this. Credit card check, I get the credit card email. Basically, I'm getting all the emails, comes here, transaction email. Now, if I go to the next record, which is Kavita, it's skipping the activation email because she's already activated. So it will go straight here. And then it will come and she'll get the rest of the emails. If I go to the other record, which is Daryl, now he's already activated. He's already got a credit card. So if you see, he's not getting the activation email, nor is he getting the credit card email. He's getting the transaction reminder email. And then finally, this one who's activated everything, he's only getting the welcome email. And then after that, it goes through. No other emails after that. So in this way, you can validate your journey even on the screen without sending physical emails. You can do it that way as well. And then when you're satisfied, you click on activate journey, and then the journey gets activated based on the date time you have mentioned. So this is how you build out journeys. Now, if a journey is running, for example, I can see this one is running. Now, this has some random data, but what happens is if a journey is running, depending on the stages, depending on the times, you'll actually get to see how many people are there. Like for example, this sending data extension seems to have only one record. If you click on this, you will actually see how many were processed, how many errors. I believe the email has already gone out. So I think it's waiting right now. Yeah, it's waiting. It's in the wait stage. So I don't know, somebody's created this journey, it's running continuously. And it's in the wait stage right now. If a journey is running, you can pause it or you can stop it. You'll notice something called versions. So if you use things like, I don't know if you guys have used Dropbox or Box, basically you can make modifications, right? So like say this is my journey, then your client has asked you to increase the number of branches and things like that. So then what you can do is basically you create something called a new version. So you continue working on this, but you create a new version. And then once the new version is ready, you stop the old version and you activate a new version. So right now, if you see, version 1 is running. This is version 1 and version 2 is in draft. I can click on version 2 and you can see that, somebody is building it. Version 2 is still Version 2 is still being built, whereas version 1 is running. So in this way, there could be a requirement to make alterations to the journey. Then you can go ahead and start building a new journey with the existing one working, so that you don't lose out on the people in the existing journey. You can continue building it, but the old one is still working, but you're still in parallel trying to upgrade the journey for the next run. So that's the fundamental of versioning. Now, when this person finishes building version 2, she'll have two options. Either she stops version 1. When you stop version 1, if people are anyway in the middle somewhere, somebody might be in this path, somebody might be here, somebody might be here, wherever, the moment you stop it, it will throw out everybody. Those who have not exited the journey, all the people will be thrown out of this journey. So people will end up missing important emails and things like that. If the same data extension is connected to version 2, then new people, and if version 2 is activated, then the new people will start getting the new journey. People who have been thrown out from the old journey, they would have lost out on receiving emails from the version 1. So you have to be very careful when you are switching versions between one version and another version. You have to be very careful uh, to see when to stop the previous version. Or sometimes people will say, okay, keep the old journey running, just create a brand new journey, and we'll create a filter. And we'll ensure that the old people who have received the email, I mentioned earlier, right? Old people who have received emails, if they are not supposed to receive the emails from the new journey, then we can have that setting. But what's going to happen is when the first old journey comes to an end, you will then end up and then stop it so that the new journey takes over. So the old people continue getting everything from the old journey, and once they finish and they exit that journey, then afterwards you can switch off that journey. So there are multiple things which you can do, but that's about versioning in journeys. But I don't want you to break your head on versioning. Most important is for you guys to understand how to build journeys and what kind of settings are there. So there are some multiple journeys over here. This is another person has made some test journey. If you see, there are people in different stages of this journey. There's a decision split here. One second. Okay, so let's play with this journey. Come here. Come here. Pause this version. Now I'm pausing this journey. The difference between pause and stop: stop will eject everybody, pause will not eject everybody. Pause will still keep them at this current stage. Obviously, it's going to take time to pause. It's got many stages over here. Doesn't take so long normally. let's use this one. Okay, it's taking too long to pause. I have no idea why. But basically, what I wanted to show you was, you pause it and then start building, a new version. I wanted to try and show you that. Maybe you guys can try it when you're practicing journeys, but I have no idea why it's taking so long to pause. Um, okay, this one has paused finally. Okay. So now, let's tackle this on Monday. It's not behaving the way it's supposed to behave. What I wanted to show you was how to basically work on a draft version, a next version, so that, while it's running, you can work on a new version and things like that. So let's tackle that on Monday. We'll do that and then we will start Automation Studio. But any questions on Journey Builder till then? Guys, any questions on Journey Builder?
No.
Okay, great. All right, then I'm going to end today's session. I have to jump on another call as well. But yeah, let's just look at versioning on Monday, and then we can start and complete Automation Studio on Monday. All right, then, guys, have a good weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.